give us a run through the injuries if there are any?
Yeah, no, we came through not too badly. A lot of the replacements were obviously just tactical substitutions. So the only one was Josh Van der Fleer. He kind of got twisted a little bit awkwardly. So we'll know more about that over the next couple of days. But we wanted to get him off, just knowing what we've got coming up with a 6-day turnaround, and then we can find out whether he's going to be okay and forge ahead for next week. It was a really good opportunity for Jack Conan to get out there. I said during the week he was initially planned to start against Scotland. He's been champion at the bit ever since, so he got out there and did a really good job.
What about Rob Kearney and Robbie Henshaw for next week?
Yeah, I think Rob Kearney would be a really good chance. He just had calf tightness yesterday, and again, we wanted to, right through the Six Nations, we've tried to utilise the full squad as much as possible. So it gave Jordan an opportunity to come in today, and look, I'd be surprised if Rob wasn't training on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when we next train. It'll just depend on how the recovery goes tomorrow and Tuesday. Robbie Henshaw would be less of a chance. Robbie is recovering, but it's a bit slower than expected.
That's a dead leg.
Yeah. It's just unfortunately lingered. It's a long time ago since I played, but I had one, and sometimes it's just almost impossible to get rid of it fast. You just got to let it, recover in its own time.
Joe, the two tries at the end, the two French tries, a dampener on what was I suppose a crucial bonus point victory in the championship.
Yeah, they were, but you're up against a good French side, and they needed to get something out of the game. I was disappointed because I felt our replacements came on and did well. And then you let it slip, and it's a good learning for some of the guys who, when they side through the midfield, we know that Uge runs those support lines so well that once they get through, you've got to make sure that you can clean that up underneath, and we didn't. And then obviously the drive at the end, that I thought maybe they'd put that ball on their own back, but once the on-field decision was a try, and you couldn't see either way. That was always going to be the result. But to be there in the first place on the back of a scrum penalty that we conceded after looking really good in the scrum through most of the game was frustrating.
Rory, as you would have been with the tries that you did score, is it concerning now at this point that the ones that you spurned, the ones that so many times you were up in the 5 metres and knock on or turnover ball or penalties, being after them in that game?
Look, they're always a frustration, but what did impress me is that if we did miss one, and Gary Ringrose might see that 10 times over, and he just tried to promote the ball with his left arm. If he just stays there, he's going to slide over. Those such small margins. Same with Kian. It was an incredibly smart decision by Kian to have a go at that ball. He was onside, he can come through there, but he was a bit unlucky, he didn't quite get it. So there were those opportunities. I was frustrated about the 3 scrum penalties that we got, and in the end it earned the yellow card, and then it looked like the ball came out the tunnel. It certainly didn't appear to come out the scrum. So, on the back of that, they cleared their lines, and that was another missed opportunity. The opportunity on the back of Jordan getting through, and maybe, if we'd been able to go a bit more direct from that, we might have had more success. So yeah, you're right. There's a list of them that are a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, getting the 4 tries, getting the bonus point, that was what we needed to stay right in the mix. It means we're 1 point behind England, 2 points behind Wales, 1 round to go. From where we were last time we sat in this room, I think it's taken a while, but there was a bit of our rhythm back today.
Joe, how gratifying is it to see the team control the game the way they did in every possible?
I don't think I've ever seen in the last 6 years a team control 40 minutes like we did in that first half. I think the French got knocked back early, and it was hard for them to then get back on the front foot. But I think part of the hardship was that we kept that pressure on, and to keep that pressure on for that full 40 minutes really spoke volumes about the intensity and about the energy that we brought to our game, and also, the cohesion. I know we missed some opportunities, but Rory's try was fantastic early in the game, and then for Johnny to score off a nice crisp back play, that gives confidence. And then just before half time for Jack Conan to get around the corner and do what he does well, that is carry and carry in a dynamic fashion. That finished off a really, really positive first 40 for us.
How important was it to do that?
Yeah, it's always important to do that because you need the points where we are. But you're right. We need the confidence as well. We need to get our back on the front foot. But in 6 days' time, it becomes a whole different equation. Wales and Cardiff. It is always a complicated, sort of fixture for us. They showed yesterday that Scotland did almost what we did in the first half. They did in the second half. They squeezed Wales into their own 22, into their own half. But they found it very, very tough to get a score with some talented players, but some replacements as well. And I felt for Gregor because I think he's got a super side there, and by the time he had to change his whole back three, that's a big shift to have to make in a game.
Well, it seemed like there was a huge release of pressure from the team today, and you kind of reconnected to where you were last year. Can you talk about that a bit, and also maybe how a few days of Belfast maybe helped that process?
Yeah, I think the mini camp in Belfast helped us a bit, because it was nice just to get away. We went out for dinner on the Wednesday night, and sometimes when you're a settled squad, you kind of forget that you do have to spend a little bit of time together, and it was nice. We didn't have the pressure of a game. It was a 3-day camp rather than the last one here was really a 2-day camp. And yeah, look, we're a really tight-knit bunch, and I think we've been as frustrated as anyone with some of the stuff in the first 3 games. And a couple of things we talked about was taking individual responsibility. I think that there's been a lot of criticism aimed at a couple of our players, but when we look at the way we've been helping them and the way we've been taking the pressure off, or not taking the pressure off, by the way we've been setting up in our attack shape, that was stuff that we really need to do. And I think we just wanted to go out and attack today, whether we had the ball or not. And look, we're best whenever we go and attack situations, and we've definitely played within ourselves, and it was nice to see us taking a big step towards what we expect from each other.
Joe, it was a big chance for Jordan today. How did you assess his performance?
Yeah, well, his first involvement was special, wasn't it? Finding that space into the corner, forcing Damien Pinot to put that ball into touch after that kick receive. I thought that was super, and I'm sure it gave him a spring in his step, that his first involvement is positive, and on the back of that he built into a number of other good positive involvements. He was probably a little bit lucky that Damien Pinot knocked the ball on from the cross kick, and that's one of the things that as a fullback he's still learning to get into the right position at the right time. When he sided through the middle of their midfield defence, he is freakishly good on his feet. He probably, I thought he was going to work his way back up the pitch at one stage to make sure he beat everyone, but unfortunately somebody catches up with you, and I think it just happened to be Matthew Bastereau who nearly killed him. So he's probably learning a bit from that to get through and step and go, as opposed to step and maybe step again. So there's those aspects of it. I thought he linked well with the back three sometimes. He brought the ball back and linked. So I thought it was a really good performance from Jordan in a real pressure cooker. Yesterday he's not starting at all. Rob's starting, and this morning he gets told, well, that calf is still tight. It's you, young fella. You're up at number 15, and virtually rubbed his hands together and said, "All right, thanks, I'm delighted."
Joe, in the wider context of the year, was it important today for you guys almost to remind yourselves the level you can get to when you get there?
Probably. Again, I know there's been some frustration externally, and it has been internal as well. We've been frustrated that we haven't been as cohesive as we'd have liked, and that we started the championship on a really flat note. Like one of the great reminders for us is you get nothing back in a test match. You can't go and say, well, we missed that opportunity. Can we go and play it again tomorrow? You get one window, and you can't just open it a little bit to let the breeze in. You've got to open it right up and get through it. So I think that's what we showed a little bit more of today. And yeah, look, it will give confidence, but we know what a challenge next week's going to be anyway. So we said all along that this is a little bit similar to what we'll have to contend with, and at the end of the year with a 6-day turnaround from a team in blue to a team in red, it's not something that we want to miss a beat with now. We want to keep building over these next 6 days if we can, and I'm sure the Welsh boys were sitting back and recovered and had their feet up today watching, and they'll be primed, very much primed for us next week in Principality Stadium.
Joe, 3 tries today from lineouts. Wales have arguably struggled there this tournament so far. How key a part of the game will that be next week, do you think?
Yeah, again, you don't know how many lineouts you're going to get. We got a lot of lineouts today, so it gave us that platform. So, I think one of the things that Wales don't tend to kick the ball to touch a lot. They tend to kick down the middle of the park or try to find space and then back their chase line. So, our expectation is we probably won't get as many line-outs. So the ones that we do get, I think we maybe squandered a couple today where the actual line-out functioned really well. We just didn't quite get the drive right, or we didn't get the play off the drive right. So, that in itself can be a little bit frustrating, but I thought it was a super score in the second half for Keith Earls off an inside ball from CJ Stander. Obviously, the try from Johnny was a bit special, and Bestie's 50-metre effort was right up there. 50-centimetre effort, sorry, was right up there. So, for us, they were really positive attacking platforms today, but we know that every day throws up new challenges. Every new game throws up new challenges, and we don't expect to get so many, and we expect to get a fair bit of pressure from Wales.
Take the last couple of the Earls try. Was that an old move you had tucked away, or was it designed around?
It was probably just designed around the what we felt we could maybe get today. We just felt that if we got a couple of good drives at them, that they would have to commit people to the drive, and if we got out, it was really just if it was on, it was on. If it wasn't, then CJ could carry.
Rory, a lot's been made of this possibly being your last, most likely being your last Six Nations game at home. Can you talk us through your emotions?
It was obviously, it wasn't something that I'd overly thought much about until yesterday, and then over the last 24 hours, it's strange to think that it's the last time you'll hop on a team bus to go to a Six Nations game here. But I think in terms of the result and performance, it's exactly how, if you could sort of plan your last home game here, and that's how you'd want it, just with the intensity that we played with, especially in the first half. And I was delighted to be a part of that. And ultimately, like we said yesterday, it was mainly Joe. He got very emotional and told me that I wasn't allowed to keep going after he left. So it is what it is.
Joe, where would a win over Wales at the Principality rank for you, considering their unbeaten run and them going for a Grand Slam?
Yeah, it's funny. People might talk about that, but it's just for us really. We just want to finish as well as we can in the Six Nations. It's less about where Wales are positioned. We know that if we can get a win, we would go past them in the championship on the ladder at the end of the day. But at the same time, it is just another game, and as boring as it is, in terms of a 6-day turnaround, you can't really think too much about championships or anything else. We need to turn our attention to Wales, and we'll do that tomorrow evening when we get back together in camp. And then, whether we train on Tuesday or Wednesday this week, we'll probably train Thursday morning before we fly to Wales, and then we've got to be ready. So it's a very, very truncated week for us. It's a very short preparation, so it will be a lot less about Wales than it will be about us just trying to get ourselves organised and ready to go.
Okay, folks, leave it there. Thanks.
Touche.